So lads, today we're talking a little bit about something that is not ideal by any means for Caitlin Clark for the All-Star Game. The Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark is probably going to need a hardship player for the All-Star Game because multiple of her...
Caitlin Clark is suited for situations such as these. She doesn't simply respond when hardship strikes. She invites it to observe her work by throwing open the door. She was expected to share the stage with A'ja Wilson, the MVP powerhouse and a crucial component of her team's championship jigsaw at the All-Star Game. Now that Wilson has been injured, Clark is much more in the spotlight. And if history...
So A'ja Wilson, man, she looked like she might not actually make it to the All-Star Game, man. Have that hurt, injured wrist. And I see it in the cast, man, right over here in the corner. If y'all can see that, I know it's a tad bit...
History has shown us anything, it is that she performs best under extreme pressure. The prospect of seeing Caitlin and A'ja work together at last excited fans worldwide. They may perhaps change the course of All-Star history. The anticipation was incredible, and the thrill was electrifying. However, Clark is accustomed to setbacks. Throughout her career, she has encountered skeptics, competitors...
Myth Satu. Either way, A'ja Wilson is currently injured. Yes, A'ja Wilson is currently injured, which is not good, and it does not seem great. They say she has a sprained wrist with no timetable to return, and that means she's probably out for the All-Star Game. That means she's probably out. So it's the rookies. It's the rookies. Like, it is Caitlin Clark and the rookies versus...
and challenges. Each time, she has answered with perseverance, leadership, and a level of play that fills arenas and leaves fans speechless. It was one of those falls that leaves you speechless, and the injury occurred during the A's 87-78 loss to the New York Liberty. Wilson got fouled while driving to the basket against Lanny Feebeck, landing hard on her right wrist. Like the last piece of pizza at a party in a college dorm.
All right, so yeah, I ended up seeing this yesterday where she actually had this cast on her wrist, and I remember Angel Reese wearing this as well. She was out for a good minute after hurting her wrist, so I don't think A'ja Wilson will be making...
Entire A's bench raced to her side. Because that's what champions do, she made an effort to endure it. Made her free throws. After a few more possessions, reality set in. She had finished for the evening. This is when things start to get interesting. Although it could have been worse, the MRI results indicated that it was a sprain rather than a fracture, which is good news. However...
After A'ja Wilson's fall and wrist injury the other night, I was super nervous that it was going to be something more serious. It really looked bad, especially the way she landed. I've had that fracture from a similar fall, and my wrist immediately started hurting. She did have an MRI yesterday. She posted this: "Welp, nothing wakes you up like the sound of an MRI machine, but just want to say thank you for the prayers, New York Liberty. Thank you so much for the quick help and privacy. Truly appreciate it. Natasha Cloud was a real one for that. Prayers to my squad. Thank you for preventing my crash out. God has a plan that I'll never question. We're going to be all right." Which, the God has a plan I'll never question. Every time someone posts that, I get a little nervous because it makes me feel like they're saying God has a plan, which means I'm not going to play. And I was like, oh shit.
We're talking about a player who has already missed 3 games this season because of concussion protocol, sprain or not. For A'ja Wilson, this season has resembled a comedy drama, and the consequences are being felt by Team Clark. In an attempt to be the voice of reason, Coach Becky Hammond stated that they would let it to heal properly the first time, so they wouldn't have to deal with it all year. Here's the problem, though. We're talking about a great game.
So now it's being reported that her wrist is not broken, it's just a sprain. So we'll probably see her pretty soon, after she takes some time to heal and rest. So I'm just so glad it's not broken. This is such good news. She's not going to play tonight in tonight's game between the Aces and the Mystics. So, but give her some time to heal up and we'll see her soon. I'm just so glad it's not broken. This is the best news ever.
Grade 1 sprain, which usually keeps players out of action for 1 to 3 weeks, and the All-Star Game is on July 19th. Team Clark isn't winning because of the math. Additionally, it's likely that Caitlin is someplace figuring out backup plans more quickly than a GPS recalculating after a mistake turn.
Angel Reese, girl, I'm curious, where are your followers at? And just in case you guys aren't aware, because Angel Reese and all her fans want to tell us all the time, you know, she's just as important with the growth of women's basketball because of all of the followers and all of the people who care about Angel Reese and want to get to know her. She's got 4.9 million followers on Instagram and she's doing really well on TikTok. But we all know that the 2025 All-Star Starters lineup dropped and Angel Reese is nowhere to be.
If you find it entertaining, kindly subscribe. There's more, though. This setback in the All-Star Game is not typical. This is taking place in the midst of one of the most anticipated rivalries in the history of women's basketball. Since the 2023 NCAA Championship game, when Reese struck Clark with a "you can't see me" gesture and essentially initiated a basketball Cold War, the Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese story has been simmering. The media made an effort to persuade us that these two were comparable, equal rivals, opposing sides of the same coin. However, reality is a cruel mistress. Clark leads her team into battle in Indianapolis as the captain of Team Clark. Angel Reese won't even be starting for Collier's squad. Give that some time to register. When the lights come on, the athlete
team here. All right, B, if Gabby Williams is off the board, who are you going with?
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna get into the post players.
Let's do it.
We need some rebounding. I'm gonna go with Me Bounds, Angel. We need some rebounding on our team.
Angel Reese off the board here to Team Collier. Tasked with getting those boards here in Indianapolis.
who is meant to be Clark's opponent, her basketball twin, and her equal won't even be in the starting lineup. Speaking about Team Kier, let's discuss the events of this entire draft. Now, Visa Kier essentially trolled Angel Reese in addition to choosing her. When questioned why she chose the player who specialized in clearing up her own misses, Kier essentially stated that she wanted rebounds. You could cut the shade with a knife since it was so thick. Looking at Angel Reese, the lady who co-founded Unrivaled and has been leading the league all season, remarked, "Yeah, I'll take the rebounder." The worst part, though, is that Caitlin Clark demonstrated that she is more than simply a basketball player. She is a CEO in sneakers. She totally changed the All-Star Game's regulations. The majority of captains would consider player swaps when they were questioned about deals. Not Caitlin. "I don't know if this is in the rules, and I don't really care, but we're going to trade coaches," she added.
"This is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Bee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it. It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa!
Let's get to it. You can coach the..."
Glancing straight at the cameras. The Minnesota Lynx coach, Cheryl Reeve, was sent to Team Collier more quickly than a lousy Uber driver receives a 1-star rating. Reeve was meant to be the captain of Team Clark. Clark preferred Sandy Brondello, the New York Liberty coach who genuinely knows how to win titles, than someone who devoted time to disparaging her contributions to the league. This was more than just a shift in coaching. This was a powerful move that rocked the basketball community. With the assurance of someone who is aware that she controls the league, Clark replied, "Sorry, ESPN, if that isn't in the rules, but we just made it a rule." What do you know? She was not stopped by the league. They were unable to. You don't follow the rules. You create them when you're Caitlin Clark, the reason an arena sells out, or the player that
Coach, you may have been involved in the first ever coach trade of any All-Star game ever. Just want to get your thoughts on that in your mind. First for you, Leo.
They announced it? Yeah. That you got traded? Yeah. Oh, I got to go look at all that. Traded? I have no idea what the teams are.
Second time in history now. Geez, as a player. And I got traded, yes. My son hit me up after he goes, I've created history. This is awesome. I got traded as a coach. But look, I get to coach with Sabrina. I'm on Caitlin Clark's in Indianapolis. I mean, what a great show. So we'll go out there and have some fun.
Taters spend $670 to see in Iowa cornfields. Sandy Brondello had the ideal response. "Mom, you got traded," her teenage son texted her. She also thought it was fantastic as a whole. Clark wants her staff to be surrounded by great energy like that. Not the criticism, the negativity, or the let's not discuss how the media portrays Clark's foolishness, just pure basketball brilliance and a spirit of competition. Now that A'ja Wilson's status is in doubt, Team Clark is in a difficult situation. Will another superstar take her place? Do they modify their strategy? Are they in a panic? If you know anything about Caitlin Clark, you are aware that she does not use the word panic. The same player that helped Iowa win back-to-back Final Fours, who made women's basketball a must-watch sport, and who obliterated scoring records like they were made.
That's great. Your followers care about you and love you so much and want to support you, but when it's time for them to show up and vote you in, where their vote, the number of followers that you have on social media, that's going to have an impact on you becoming a starting lineup, on you becoming part of the starting lineup, they're nowhere to be found. So when we hear Angel Reese's famous line that she loves to remind us all,
yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
So it just begs to question, Angel Reese, this was the time for your followers to come and show up for you and prove to everybody that, yeah, your social media following, that has some sort of relevance to the
of glass. Even with Wilson's absence, Clark put together a strong roster. Her defensive anchor and fervent teammate is Aaliyah Boston. Basketball IQ and shooting prowess are brought by Sabrina Ionescu. Sata Sabali offers adaptability and global experience. Kelsey Mitchell contributes three-point shooting and clutch scoring. Gabby Williams contributes hustle and defense. The squad is based on respect and chemistry in addition to talent. However, it would be like losing Batman from the Justice League if A'ja Wilson were to disappear. It will be much more difficult, but you can still save the world. Wilson scores 20.7 points, pulls down 8.7 rebounds, and blocks 2.4 blocks on average. She is a force of nature, a basketball hurricane that obliterates everything in her way, and she is more than simply a player. Team Clark must come up with a new identity and strategy for dominance in her absence. However, the irony is delicious. Angel Ree is over on Team Collier discussing how they have the top crash on their squad while Clark is coping with Wilson's injuries. Crashes. Are we referring to players that are unable to start in an All-Star game as that?